budgeters, my name is Brandy and you're watching From Debt to Dreams, and on this channel we are working really hard to pay off over $400,000 worth of debt, but don't you fret, more than half of that is our mortgage. All right, so let's, today in this video we are going over our month end, so we're closing out our budget cycle from March 28th to April 24th, and then we're going to go over our debt progress for the month of April. So a couple of debt payments have been made in the April 25th and beyond pay cycle. So like those payments you'll see in the other, when it comes to the budget category breakdowns, you'll see that in the May breakdown, budget breakdown, closeout, whatever. But you'll see those payments, like I wanted to color in things so that when I go over the debt binder, then that will, that's when you'll see that. All right, so let's look over here. We started the month, we started at March 28th with $311.76. This is just our spending accounts. Out of our earned income for the month, for this pay cycle, we used $7,845 into our income account or checking account, expense account. There's too many accounts. We received $576.51 of other income. That could be anything from people giving me money to pay me back for things. That could be anything. We used $550 of our savings, and we used $294 from our debt binder. So our total monthly inflow was $9,577.27. So now we go into our spending categories. For our household, our budget was $2,331 and we spent $2,329. Groceries, our budget was $1,200 and we went over with $1,254. Cars, our spending budget was $821. That includes gas, car repairs, anything of those sort, and we spent $736.93. Utilities, we budgeted $660 and we only spent $577. Takeout, we budget nothing, but we spent $302. Tithes, we budgeted $65, ended up tithing $94. Health, we budgeted $85, ended up spending $262. Kids, we budgeted nothing, but ended up spending $18.12. That's $18.12. Jason we budgeted $40 for him and he spent $62. We budgeted nothing for me and I spent $175. So that's not good. Nothing in annual fees this time around. Pets, we budgeted nothing and we spent a little over $100. Savings, we budgeted $501 and only put $459. Debt, we budgeted $1,767 and we ended up putting $2,176.80. Fun and entertainment, we only budgeted $90 and ended up spending $355. We budgeted nothing for celebrations and spent $194. School, we budgeted nothing and spent $42. The debt binder, we budgeted $220 to go inside the debt binder and $240 went into the debt binder. So our total budgeted was $7,780 and we ended up spending $9,384.23. So my ending balance for the April 24th moving into April 23rd, what I had in my spending account and my spending cash envelopes was $186.58. If I did the math from what we spent versus what we earned in this pay cycle, I should have $193.04. I don't, I have $186. So we are under by $6.46, which is totally fine by me. At least it's not $600.46. Okay? So from here, we move on to our debt binder and we do our coloring so that we can move on to going over what the debt things are. So hold on one second, please. All right. Now, before I get into our debt binder, If you don't watch all of my videos and you only watch the closeout videos or whatever, I just need to say that our debt plan has changed since last month. Our original plan now, we paid off Jason's care credit card, which was wonderful. We paid that off December of 2024. We have paid off my care credit card in February of this year. And then we paid off our Capital One credit card last month in March. And then our plan was to move forward and start paying extra on my husband's student loan while we are in no interest forbearance. However, when I went to get my Toyota Sienna inspected for the month of April and get my tags renewed and all the things, it did not pass inspection, and we needed to buy new tires, and we also have a big repair that needs to happen to the van. The big repair doesn't have to happen immediately. We did have to get new tires. That was $995, which I did have to put on this Capital One credit card because I do not have $995 in cash. And on top of that, there is a repair that needs to happen to the van that's going to cost about $1,000. And if the repair, it's not a safety issue, but if that repair doesn't happen, it's messing with the alignment, and we will have to replace our tires more often, which we don't want to do that because in the long run, it'll be more expensive to do that. So the new debt plan is we are saving for our van repair and we're paying off Capital One. We're doing it all in one thing. So I made our starting balance be $2,500. That means that it's $995.22 on the Capital One credit card. And then our future repair, I have $1,505. Now, I know for sure the other repair is not going to be $1,500, but we're gonna shoot for that just in case there's extra labor or something else that's going to happen. Or if that's the case, we can throw that extra $500 into our car care and then start having that as our plan. Okay, so we have a new sheet. It looks a little different from my other ones because this is kind of like, I made these and then there's another sheet on it that looks like this, like a page 2 kind of a thing. And I don't have my own printer. My husband prints these for me at his work, so I just used what I had. So in April, we did all this, we got all this, and then I made a $244 payment. That's from our debt binder. Okay, so now our remaining balance for our car repair is $2,256.22. All right, so that means we have a new coloring sheet. Each space is worth $25, and I get to color in 9 of them today. So that's what I'm gonna do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I will be right back. Okay. Now after we get this all cleared up and we work on the van repair, we're not going to go back to the husband student loan because by that point we should no longer be in forbearance, interest-free forbearance. I really don't know what's going on. I'm trying so hard to keep up with all of the changes that are happening with the student loan system, and like, it's really hard between whatever was happening in the Biden administration and now what's ever happening in the Trump administration. It's really hard to keep up with everything. So I think what I'm going to do is, I believe I can put in my application for my income-based, income-driven repayment plan. And we're going to move back to those because if we don't, we're not going to be able to afford anything, which just sucks. The student loan program sucks. If I knew I would still be in this position in my 30s, I never would have taken out student loans when I was a teenager. But anyway, I'm not going to get on my student loan soapbox. So that's going to be the plan. After we do the car repair, we're just going to move down the list of the balances. We're going to continue to follow the debt snowball method because that is what works for us. And anytime I veer off of the debt snowball program, that's when things get messy for us. And so I just need to stay on it. I need to stop worrying about the interest stuff, and I just need to pay the bills. That's what I need to do. So there we go for the car repair. Okay. Next is Ashley Furniture. I did make a payment in April for $45.95 because honestly, there's no interest on here and I got really tired of this 95-cent thing hanging around. So now our next balance is $601 and we get to fill in 5 of these. So I'm going to do that right now. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Perfect. I'm realizing now that as I'm coloring, I am not using the color I wanted to use, but oh well. All right. Next is rooms to go. We made our $83 payment this month, and so we're now at $1,817.28. So I get to fill in 3 leaves. All right, very cool. For our Visa credit card, we made a $92 payment. That was our minimum payment this month. And our remaining balance is $4,607.52. So we get to fill out one of these little things. Each little part of the Pac-Man game is $50. So we're going to be able to fill in one of those. Okay. This is our personal loan that we took out last year so that we could replace the engine in our van. And we made a $258 payment. That's the minimum payment for this account. And so we now owe $5,516.36. And I get to color in 3 squares. I usually like purple, but I don't like this purple. It is too purple. Okay. Next is the city credit card, the Costco city credit card. This is the one we just cannot seem to stop spending on. However, I did not spend anything on this. I did not. I did not. It looks like it went up, but that's because of interest. Okay. I did not spend anything. We made a $450 payment. The minimum I think is $430. So I made a $450 payment, and so now our balance is $16,213.46. I promise you, I did not make a purchase on this. That it went up because of interest. I promise you. So we don't get to fill out any of these. We don't get to do any of these colors until we're back to our beginning of $14,269, which we will get there. We will get there. All right, for our Rogue, our car payment, we made our minimum payment of $325.06. So we are now at $14,460.29. So we get to fill out one little thingy bobber. Yay. Next is our private student loan. This one, it's not a federal loan. This one I've been paying on forever. I'm so sick of it, but we got to do what we got to do. We made our minimum payment of $289.74, which means we are at $15,581.41. Each little doodle is $164, and unfortunately, we didn't pay. Like, I would only be able to fill out like less than half of one, and so I'm not. We'll just be able to fill one out next month. All right, for my federal student loan, we made an $85 payment, so we're at $22,228.76. Each leaf is $56, and so we get to fill out one leaf. Okay. And then the last, these are all, my husband's student loan is all together. It's consolidated, but of course there's a balance for each one. So it looks like I'm skipping a bunch of stuff, but I'm not. So it's all one payment, but one thing. So, but we are focusing on, when I'm making my extra payment, we're focusing on the one that is the highest amount. So this one we made an April payment of $335, and now this balance on this this one little account is $15,702.83. So I get to color in 2 of these. Each little line in here is equal to 167. So we get to color in 2. It's going to be sad when we start paying interest on these again to not see the balance go down, because it's been nice seeing the balance go down a little bit. All right, the next one is for our mortgage. My mortgage balance is $278,806. $278,806. So the smallest balance I have right here is $278,261. So we don't get to fill it out this month, but we will get to next month. And then last month I was so excited because we were so close to filling out this one right here, which is like our total debt free, including all the mortgage and everything. We were so close to being able to color this one in, but because we had to add to the debt a little bit because of the van repair, we don't get to, which is so sad. So that is the end of the coloring in of the debt binder. So now let's go back to the Budget by Paycheck workbook and go over the debt balances again, and then we'll go over our net worth. All right, so here's our debt balances. This is going to be confusing because this is just from March 28th to April 24th. 2 debt payments were made on April 25th, which was the new pay cycle. So you're going to see, even though we discussed 2 of them in the debt binder, you're not going to see them here, okay? So, right, so here we go. Okay, so Ashley Furniture, we did make a payment during this pay cycle. So here's all of these right here for our car repair. There's our mortgage. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. Let's just go down here. So in March of 2025, we paid an interest of $611.77. In April of 2025, our interest went up a little bit by $656.79. And I think what happened there is somewhere along the lines, one of the interest rate changed just a little bit. So our debt balance in March was $428,260, and our debt balance in April is $429,067, and we paid no principal in April, like total, because we ended up adding to that. All right, so here is our net worth. Now, this is just for poops and laughters, because this is not all of our assets. We have more assets, but this is just all I track right now. So for our assets, in our bank accounts on April 24th, we had $2,318. Our cash envelopes, we had $210, and our sinking funds, we had $678. That leads us to our assets of $3,116. Now here is all of our debts, just like I had explained before. We're at $429,067.54, which means our total net worth is negative $425,951.50. Last month, we were at negative $424,689, which means we are back into the negative even more by $1,200. Which makes sense, because with the principal that we pay on when we just make our minimum payments versus what we added to the debt with the car repair, that makes sense right there. So, so yeah, that's it. If you'd like to continue this journey with us as we pay off over $400,000 worth of debt, I really would love it if you'd hit that subscribe button. I'm not as excited about this debt payoff video as I have been in previous ones, just because we have added to the debt, but there's just nothing we can do. I did not have $1,000 cash. So, yeah, so that's it. All right, my friends, I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you tomorrow for my expense tracking video. Have a good one. Bye.